Today we're in historic Acton, which is on the southeast side of Indianapolis at Indy Hammered Knives. It's a unique smithy, and we're going to meet modern-day blacksmith James Wahls. So why don't you give me a little history of Indy Hammered Knives?
Okay. Indy Hammered Knives started in 2014. I spent 20 years in healthcare prior to doing this.
Was there a defining moment of like, I need to just drop what I'm doing, I hate this direction of my life and I gotta go this direction? What was the deciding factor? What happened?
Well,
I know that's probably a lot to ask.
It's a huge question and there's a big long story.
And you got about 2 seconds to answer.
Well, I always invite everybody to come out because so a knife is very different than any other tool that we use.
Okay.
There's a lot of tools that fit our hand, but this is a different type of a tool. This is more of an extension of our arm. And so with all of that said, the defining moment basically was, I was done with healthcare. I loved what I did, and I loved my patients, and I loved the families that I've worked with. But after 20 years, things had changed so much, and I had changed so much. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I haven't had a drink in 11 and a half years, thanks to God.
Good for you.
And basically when I knew I was done with healthcare, knew I was done with drinking, hit that rock bottom, there had to be something else. And that something else became, these.
Right.
And so.
Right. Do you have like various designs that you've come up with, or do you kind of stick with one look?
Well, I've got 20 different knives that you can pick from on my website right now.
Now, are these to be used, or are these to be admired, or both?
I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah, I mean,
every single thing that I make it's a tool.
Okay.
A lot of people are like, oh, you're an artist and all this. But I'm a tool maker. I'm a purposeful tool maker, and every tool has an intention. I make kitchen knives, I make chef knives, I make wood, people that go out into the woods, camping knives, skinning knives, those kind of things.
Right.
But each one is extremely specific with the intention that I had originally in the design.
So the two words, there's blacksmith. So what does smith mean and what does black mean?
Okay, so blacksmith is basically, when you're heating up the metal, you get a carbon soot, basically, that's burnt on the outside of that blade. You look at some of my finished knives and you'll see that, and we call that mill scale. But the smith, a lot of times people will call me a smithy. I'm not a smithy, I'm a smith. And so where I work is a smithy. So where we're sitting right now is the smithy.
So the shop is the smithy.
Yep.
The person is the smith.
Yep.
So what kind of materials do you use? Is there like a bunch of different kinds of steel?
But when it comes to a knife, we use the tool steel, or a steel that's got a very high carbon content. This right here is 1095 high carbon steel.
Okay.
And the 95 stands for 95% carbon.
Oh, okay.
The higher the carbon content, the better the edge retention.
Well, hey, thank you very much.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah,
Thanks for
this is really interesting and so cool and just so inspiring. James not only offers custom handmade knives, he can teach you techniques in blacksmithing as well in one of his classes. For more information, click ihknives.com. For Great Day TV, I'm Barney Wood.